What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And George, Chelsea's hunt for a striker continues. It's been reported today by Jan Arge Fjortort, the Norwegian ESPN correspondent, that the deadline to bid for Erling Haaland is this week. So if Chelsea are going to get Haaland across the line, a bid needs to go in this week. The understanding is that Chelsea won't bid unless they know it's going to be accepted. So we could probably expect another unofficial proposal to be put on the table. But in the meantime, it's been reported in The Athletic that Chelsea have had two proposals for Romelu Lukaku knocked back, but are intending to go back in with a third. Now, George, this to me indicates that they're perhaps not so confident on being able to get the Erling Haaland deal across the line this summer. Where do you stand on this whole situation now in the hunt for the striker and those two proposals being rejected for Lukaku?
Yeah, my hope on getting Haaland starting to run thin now. I really thought we would have had a lot more news and official statements coming out in the course of the last few weeks. But as it transpires, I think it's proving to be very difficult for Chelsea to get any sort of traction going on this Erling Haaland deal. And Dortmund remain firm, as they did with Sancho for a whole year. So I'm getting annoyed, and this is what I feared for Chelsea after we'd won the Champions League, that could we go that extra step? And at the moment, now we're looking at a contingency plan of Lukaku. I think it's not my personal choice, but that's only from my personal opinion. I think Lukaku's kind of the grade down of striker that we want to push for. But then what other choice does Chelsea have? We know full well, I think the majority of Chelsea fans will agree, that as of present day, we have not got a good enough front line to take that next step and to challenge for the title. I mean, we may get away with it. We may win a title, but I think we haven't got that 20-goal striker, that's for sure. So we do have to look at other options in case it doesn't fall through. But I really just don't understand why we haven't gone in for a bid and why we need this thing to be accepted so much. Why don't we just test the water, similarly to Kane? I mean, why don't we just put in a bid and just make him look the other way? I just don't understand the ins and outs of it. But from what I've heard from the reports, it is very difficult. It's a very difficult transfer, so it's not a normal bit of work going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Lukaku, who obviously, we've seen him in the Premier League before. He's proven in that league. Obviously at Manchester United, at Everton, a great season on loan at West Brom. He's gone to Inter Milan and he's done fantastically well there. Great goal scoring record for the Belgian national side also. If this is obviously out of the three main ones we've been linked with, this is probably the easiest of the three to get over the line. I know Inter have said he's untouchable and not for sale, so they've got financial difficulties. And if the right money came in, or the right money plus player option arrived on the table, there's a high possibility of them accepting them. I know you've just said Lukaku's not your personal choice, but do you think he'd be a good fit if he returned to Stamford Bridge?
Me personally, I mean, I don't want Lukaku back at Stamford Bridge, but I think I have to be sensible in a way and say that it's a good option if we can't get Erling Haaland. I mean, his goal scoring record speaks for itself, and he definitely wasn't given enough opportunity first time around at Stamford Bridge, that's for sure. We know that. So he's more mature, complete player now, and he just doesn't excite me as much as maybe a Haaland or a Harry Kane does. That's all. But we have to be realistic. But I have mentioned before, I think even if we were to get a proposal of getting Erling Haaland next season and not bringing anyone in, I would prefer that than having Lukaku this season. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I think a lot of Chelsea fans would feel the same. If we could somehow, I think it's very unlikely, but we could come to an agreement where Haaland stays at Dortmund this summer, but we get a guarantee that he'll come to Chelsea next summer, then I think a lot of Chelsea fans would be prepared to accept that. But it leaves us in a difficult place. The season's getting closer and closer to beginning. We've got the Super Cup on August the 11th, so in about 9-10 days' time. Time is running out to integrate, these players into the squad, have a bit of pre-season, get them to learn the system. I mean, obviously, in terms of the system, George, 3-4-3, it looks like we're going with again, or however you want to look at it. Lukaku, obviously, well versed in that three sort of at the back formation, having played it with Conte at Inter Milan. If he does arrive, can you see him? He would probably fit in quite well to that, you'd imagine.
Yeah, and he offers something different. I mean, he's got that ability to hold up the ball. He's a good finisher. He's very strong, very difficult for defenders to cope with, and a completely different option to a Werner or possibly a Havertz in that false nine where they heavily rely on pace. So I think he would be a good fit at Chelsea. I'm not saying, and he's obviously a great talent and a great player, but for me personally, I just think that Chelsea need to push on. Where we should be at the stance of we're the champions of Europe, and therefore we should attract the very, very best. And I think the two that we've been speaking about in Kane and Haaland are far superior to Lukaku. So if we were to end up with Lukaku, it's not a disaster by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a step down in class to what I want at our football club going forward. If we're going to compete with Manchester City, who look like they might get Kane and Grealish this summer, I think you've got to go for the very best. But sometimes that's just not possible. Maybe Thomas Tuchel wants that, Abramovich wants it, but sometimes these things just don't work out, and that actually Dortmund have got the last say on it. So maybe it's out of our control, and it's going to be a frustrating window, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to agree a lot with what you're saying there. I think the one thing for Lukaku is that it would definitely offer us some physical presence up top. I think we massively lack any aerial threat in the final third, any physical presence, someone that can hold up the ball, bring other players into play, etc. I think he'd be good at, flicking the ball on for the likes of, Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, Callum Hudson-Odoi, whoever's playing, to sort of run onto and get in behind. So I think he'd offer a good option there. But George, just to wrap up, if I can get an answer from you, who is going to be Chelsea's new number 9 signing heading into the season?
Bloody hell, mate. I honestly can say it won't be Harry Kane. Almost sure of that. I'm starting to sway towards it's not going to be Erling Haaland either now. I think it's going to be a painful no from them. So, but then again, I don't even know if Lukaku. I mean, they're saying he's untouchable at the moment. So I really can't say at the moment. I'll give you an answer. I'll say Lukaku, but I mean, I'm praying that I can buy that number 9 Haaland shirt at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think, it's looking for me out of the three. I've lost a bit of hope in this Haaland deal now. I think it's just going to be so difficult to get over the line, astronomical amounts of money, so many people to deal with, so many sort of things to sort out. I'm kind of more inclined now that it is going to be, if anyone, it will be Romelu Lukaku. I remember I mentioned on an episode of the podcast a while back, made a big claim that Lukaku would join Chelsea this summer for about £90 million. And I was laughed at by you and someone else on the podcast, so I can't remember. So if that does come in, I mean, I'd like an official apology from you if that happens. But yeah, this is going to run and run again, a bit like.
Mate, do you think?
Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, do you think there's any possibility that we don't even get Lukaku, and that there's another option where we just don't, either we don't get anyone, or it's going to be a name that we haven't even come up with yet?
Yeah, mate, to be fair, I could quite easily see a name that's not really been mentioned being signed, because I just think these deals are going to be so difficult to get done. So yeah. I think it's going to rely on the player wanting to leave. Lukaku's everything he said. He's very happy in Milan. He's happy to stay. He's untouchable to the club. We all know if you offer the right money, then everyone's got a price. But ultimately, if the player doesn't want to leave, you can't force him onto that plane. So, mate, I think it's, for me, if I'm being honest, I think it's going to be someone perhaps a little bit unknown, or we're just going to go in with what we've got, and that's kind of a big concern, because I'm sort of at the point now where I can't see any of these big 3 deals happening, which is a real shame.
Well, mate, yeah, at the moment, I can't disagree with you. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to get any of those 3, which was my biggest worry and my biggest target of the pre-season, that we had to get a number 9, a decent number 9. And if we end up not doing that, I really can't see how we go that step and win the title, because that's our focus this year, to win the title, for sure.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I mean, it's well known. We definitely need to get a 9 in to push us onto that next level. We've done really well, winning the Champions League last season, FA Cup final, getting into that top 4 position. We've not had a league push for a good few years now. I think that's definitely the next step, to put together something consistent over the course of the whole season in the league. And to do that, we need a number 9. So, you know, that's just myself and George's thoughts on the matter. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Will Chelsea end up with a top tier striker, or will it be someone slightly lesser known? Do let us know. And as always, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.